Check one, check two. Check one, check two. Whoa, 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 whoa. Good morning, everybody. We're live, we're live, we're live. Yes, we are. Today is May 31 in the year 2023. How much debt are you carrying? How much debt do you have? How much debt do you have? Do you have more debt than the United States? 31.4 trillion. $31.4 trillion. The debt ceiling keeps climbing, more and more and more debt. How do we pay the debt? How do we pay $31.4 trillion? How's the taxpayer going to pay that? I got an idea. Let's start a war. Yes. Let's change the rules. Let's change the rules that change the meaning of debt. What does debt mean? Debt? I'm not in debt. Good morning, everybody. Marcus Conte reporting. Welcome to the program. Hello. Today's Wednesday. How you doing? Talking about the debt ceiling today, and of course the assorted freak news of people losing their minds in America and abroad for whatever reason. What comes before craziness? You got to ask yourself. You see people that are crazy, right? What causes it? What causes young people to beat the shit out of, 3 Marines on a beach one night in Florida for saying, stop shooting off fireworks? What came before that? What kind of anger is in the hearts of the young people, or the blindness to not pause, not have the ability to pause and say, wait a second. We're doing something wrong here. Now, some parts of society will say, well, it's the drugs, man. Those kids, they're all strung out on that fucking THC vape. They're hitting off the vape. Or they'll say, well, it's bad upbringing. All right. Well, then, if that's the consequence of the kid, you got to ask yourself, what came before that? Kids are a product of our upbringing. They see, and they, monkey see, monkey do. Right? And same could be said about debt. You got $31.4 trillion. Everybody is blaming the other one for it. What came before that debt? Well, there's unfettered spending. We just spend. We spend our way out of it. Right? And we worry about the consequence later. That is the American way. Credit card, auto loan, house loan, borrowing from friends, give me some money, whatever. However you get your money. Debt is an instrumental part of the capitalist American society. And the United States is now at $31.4 trillion, $31.4 trillion. And where do we go from there? So we'll look at that fascinating story. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Weevil Girl in the house. Weevil Girl, I am with you on the idea, the big idea. I'm with you on it. And I sent you an email to tell you that I'm with you on merchandising idea. And everybody else who's here, Jim Gerard, my brother. What's up, Jim? Zoot, Cooter, Snake. Hey, how you doing, Snake? Is here as well. Hey, I think I saw Vinny Martini. Is Vinny in the house? Vinny's still sleeping. Mad Cow Mark is here. And Colossal Bigfoot, how are you, man? Everybody else, that is Snake is here too. And everybody else who's lurking, my name is Marcus Conte. I am a video procrastinator, a video protagonist, a video philosopher, guy who makes videos on a daily basis because I got nothing else to do with my life. Because life is very short, right? And you might as well make it meaningful and take to the mic every day and share what it is that is inside your heart, what is inside your mind. We used to call it free speech, but now we call it some other kind of character defect, maybe. What, do you just like to hear yourself speak? Shut the fuck up and do as you're told. It's an expression of free speech that I think we once enjoyed, and I think we should still enjoy. Hold on a second. Let me click this, make sure everything's in. This is called buying time, by the way. Make sure everything is in check. Josephine's here as well. Welcome. So where are we today? I don't know what I'm doing right now. Oh, yeah, over here. So that's my thumbnail. And see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Is that what the very, very, very tried and true Republican Party, that's this new branch of the Republican Party, they're going to be big holdouts. Nothing is going to squeak through on our watch. And it seems that they're going for it, 31.4 trillion. The realization that America is fucking broken. And if you don't continue the trajectory of writing false debt or taking on more debt, just paying money, printing money and paying for the shit that you acquire and need, like services, like federal services. If you don't do these things, you got a big fucking problem. All right? So the Republicans are the new breed, the new wing, the new savior of the Republican Party, appears to be, thus far, falling in line with adding another $3 trillion to the national debt. They keep saying we're spending too much, but why? So then why, when push comes to shove, do you play like the monkey and see no evil and say no evil and say, oh, no, it's just, we have to do this. It's just like AOC taking the money from the corporate donors. She's saying, oh, yeah, you have to get the money from somewhere. Meanwhile, they were the opposition. Don't take their money and such. So I think it's fascinating. I think how high can debt go? How much money can you borrow without anybody complaining? Americans, everybody does that to some degree. How much can you debt yourself without the bank knocking on your door or the car guy coming back to take your car? How much debt can you go into? And the United States is playing that very dangerous game on a very, very dangerous national platform, on the world platform. It's not just citizens that are in debt, because the average citizen in America is maybe average, I said. The average American is in debt for about $11,000. All right, that's the average debt. And if you calculate that, if you crunch that, it's to 330 million people. You're still only at this 330 million people in America times $11,000 in debt. If every American, that's including old people and children who are not really in debt, you would still only be at $3 trillion. So where the populace is only in debt for $3 trillion, the government is in debt for more than 10 times that, $34 trillion, $31.4 trillion. So this notion that Americans are going to, somehow pay it back, the taxpayer is going to pay it back. Taxpayer ain't paying back shit. Right? And the idea of even asking people for tax money at this point is ridiculous because it doesn't pay for anything. The bulk of the expense is being paid with blank check mentality, blank fucking, government officials saying, yeah, we gotta pay these bills here, and where are we gonna get the money? Let's print it. So the taxpayer is not gonna bail anybody out. That's a popular misconception. No, yeah, the taxpayers. Yeah, the taxpayer. Taxpayer is going to, they tax and spend. But now it's not tax and spend anymore. It is tax and spend, but it's also tax, then print, and then spend. So that's more what it looks like. So again, website, marcusconti.com. If we're ever not here or you don't know where we are, just go to the website and you'll find us. We're live right now on YouTube. We love YouTube. Look at the stock market as well. It looks like it's going to make a slightly down open. I don't know what the news is over there. I guess the debt ceiling, the very thing that we're talking about, is causing it to causing a little pressure there. You got the Nasdaq futures down 72, Dow futures down 123, S&P 500 down 20. That could turn around the second the market opens. So we'll look at that in a few minutes. So let's start here. There was a beating yesterday on a California beach. It was in California where 3 Marines were beat. I think I said Florida earlier, but 3 Marines were beat down on a California beach. And the other fight in Florida was just it was a shooting. 9 people got shot. Random shooting, but down there, over there in California, 19 stomped 3 Marines, and it looks like they have an investigation. It does look like the great state of California is going to, do something about it. They're all teens. It says they rounded up 9 teenagers with a brutal beating. Here's more of the brutal beating if you want to see it. You want to see some brutal beating? Warning! It's a warning. Warning, distress. So here's more video of the beating. Marines getting their fucking heads pummeled for saying, please stop shooting fireworks on the beach. And the pack of kids, right? Pack of wolves, right? The predators, right? Super predators kids have become again. What's happening to our kids? Honey, what's happening to the children? Why are they so violent? What are they upset about? What are the children upset about? They're so upset that we can't even mention them. 4 males, 1 female. Assault with a deadly weapon. Feet, in this case, are considered deadly weapons. They stomped a bunch of Marines. And the Marines were, the only thing that identified as Marines were that they had their Marine haircuts. No one really, I don't know. These kids may not have known that they were Marines, or maybe they did know. They said, fucking Marines. No shirts. I don't think the Marines were completely innocent in this case. I think they were probably as drunk or more drunk than the teens that were beating them up. I would speculate. But they were Marines, and so it's good that they're rounding up the kids. I think that you should definitely. Do we over prosecute kids in this country? Do we over prosecute kids in this country? I was talking to a bunch of young kids, and they had all these legal problems. Right? Legal fucking court and DUI court and this court and that court, family court, fucking house court. What are we doing to our kids? Right? The kids, when I was a kid, you got away with murder, literally. You almost got away with murder. Anything short of murder was like, oh, son, fucking stop being such a problem. Right? But now they prosecute kids. You're under 18, we don't give a fuck. Right? I know some kid, very, outstanding young kid, right? I just met him in my travels, and he got 5 years. 5-year sentence, a little jail and then probation for a gun. He had a gun, a handgun. It's not the smartest thing to have if you're underage. Under age 18, you can't have a gun, but he did. And he was driving along, and he got pulled over, and the cops found the gun. They sentenced him to the gun, underage gun, for all that time. Is the kid really a danger because he has a gun? I don't know. I don't think so. I think the car, he's driving in the car. He's old enough to drive the car, but he has a gun to protect himself. I don't know. The prosecution, that should have been thrown out. Now the kid has got a felony for the rest of his life. He ruined his life over a technicality, an age gap. He's 17. A year later, everything he did would have been legal. So you got to punish him to the fullest extent of the law. More so, I don't agree with that. I don't. I think we over prosecute young people in this country. I think so. But Al Pacino, he doesn't give a shit about young people anymore because he's 82, and there he is. He's expecting a baby with his girlfriend Noor Al-Falala, and she's 29 years old. Now that's a shitty picture of Al Pacino. Al Pacino is neither. Needs help or is senile or any of these fucking things. Why they treat him like he's a mental patient. He's no mental patient. He's in good shape, Al Pacino, but he's going to have another kid. And why bother? Why bother talking about Al Pacino? Because he's a great actor, and he's 82, and he's probably lived a hard actor's life, and he's not going to be around too much longer. And he wants to plant his seed in a rich fucking Arab chick, right? She's rich. She's a gold digger, an admitted gold digger. She goes after dates very, very wealthy men for their money. She is willing to be impregnated by the great Al Pacino and have his offspring long after Al Pacino is dead. Look at that piece of ass that Al Pacino got, right? See, that's what keeps the money machine going, right? You want some money, old man? And you want some of this? You want some of this? Right? Al Pacino got some of that, right? At least once, right? Because he's got a kid coming. That's the more expected, Al Pacino that we might see. He's 82. He's doing good. There he is next to his Robert De Niro, 79. Right? So anyway, what does it say about kids are I think people are having less kids, but not these old rich men, old rich white men. Hey, kid, come here, man. I'm gonna impregnate you before I die. That's his last will and testament, Al Pacino. I want to impregnate as many fucking young women as I can, so that when I'm dead, that kid will probably vaguely remember me, but my name will live on in the kid. I am him. He is me. That kind of thinking. So Ron DeSantis in the news, the thriving, springing up with his beautiful wife there. We got a beautiful wife. Oh, give me a look at a beautiful wife. Let's check out the beautiful wife. She's got a light blue dress on, showing some shoulder and some cleavage, maybe. Trump's going to have fun with that. Trump is revving up the engines to go after him, but Ron DeSantis vows to send Joe Biden back to the basement in Delaware. Go back to your basement, Joe. I'll turn the audio off so I don't get struck. Oops. There we are.
It is great to be back, and it's great for me to report that our great American comeback starts by sending Joe Biden back to his basement in Delaware.
No! It's a good line.
I mean, he spends so much of his time as president on vacation, we might as well make it permanent.
That's a good line. That was a good line. The second part of that, all presidents take a lot of vacations. Trump fucking shot more pool or more golf than any other living president. Trump was playing golf every weekend. Every weekend in Mar-a-Lago, he flies down to Florida and plays golf. Obama, same deal. They all take vacations. Biden likes Camp David. Right? He goes to Camp David and hangs out, or wherever else he goes. Who the fuck knows? But Ron DeSantis on the tear. Let's look at the market. It might be open another 4 minutes. Are we creeping up or creeping down? Curious. Very curious. Creeping down. And the futures seem to be balancing out a little bit. And I don't know. It just might be a breathing out on the market for now. So I said earlier, the average debt. We're going to look at national debt. National debt. What is national debt? How much debt can the government carry without falling on its face? I got so much debt. You know how people feel when they have a lot of debt. Can you imagine a government? That's what America looks like. When America's hanging out with Saudi Arabia and Russia and China and Japan, the United States has the most debt of any of them. That's like hanging out with your friends, and there's one guy in the crowd that just owes everybody money. That guy right there, you see that guy? He owes all of us fucking money. All right, that's the United States on the national scale, because it's not only that people owe the government money for their stupid loan, or student loan, stupid student loan. Is that the government owes all of these other entities that buy our shit, buy our debt, treasuries, or whatever they buy. I don't even think that's. I don't even think that I don't even think the concept of debt is accurate anymore. It's printing money. We're not in debt to anybody, really. We're just printing money to pay off the slaves that need to get the money to continue to work to prop up the government. There really is no debt. It's just a number. The United States prints the money, right? Probably without even issuing the debt, right? By selling treasuries or selling bonds or whatever they're doing, whatever they used to do. They're not even doing that anymore, it appears. Now they're just print the money, pay off our debt, right? Pay off the employees that need the money to keep the machine going, right? And we're not in debt to them. They're not in debt to us. We're in debt to the magic computer, the magic machine, the printing press. That's the reality of it. There really is no. We don't owe the money to anybody. This new money, right? It's just printed. But the average American has $11,000 roughly in debt. So when government tells you. When government tells you that we need to curb the debt and the taxpayer is going to take the burden for this debt, I believe that they're lying to you. They may not be, I got totally tongue twisted. They may not be lying to you, but they don't understand the debt bubble and how it works. So Vivek Ramaswamy had something to say on Fox, the very astute speaker, very, very Teflon-ish kind of speaker, Vivek Ramaswamy, knower of everything, it seems. He's good. He's good. He reminds me of Obama, very, very self-confident, a.k.a. thinking you know everything. Let's listen.
Understands how to read a budget, former biotech entrepreneur, and now, of course, 2024 presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek, your reaction to this deal?
I think it is.
Before he says that, I think we should change. I think Vivek should change his name to Vic. See, he's almost there. V-I, just mix up the letters a bit. Vic. How do you spell Vic? V-I-K. Just lose two letters in between. Vic, introducing Vic Ramaswamy. Better.
I think it is a positive step forward, but I think it's premature to celebrate too much. Steve, you're now talking about funding for the IRS. It was $80 billion. It came down to $78 billion instead. So I think this was a victory. It was an incremental victory. We need to recognize that for what it was. This is just the first step of, if the Republicans take control of the White House and the Senate, what we're going to do is actually shut down the administrative state. That's really where the keys to the kingdom are. This was a small step along the way. So I'll give Kevin McCarthy credit for that. but I don't want to celebrate too much.
So Vivek is saying that he wants to shut down government. He would have liked to see government get shut down, or a lot of Republicans like that, because then that would lead to less government. They feel that government employees are the problem. See, we got too much fat around the bone right there, right? Is that the problem? Well, that's what Vic said.
Well, it's very funny you should say that, because I've got a few thoughts on that exact point coming up just in a moment. But Vivek, you know, there's a reality. This is now, the legislative text is going to be put together. We're going to see it soon. It's going to go to the Congress. Do you think Republican members of Congress should vote for the agreement that we've seen over the past 24 hours?
Look, this is going to be controversial to some, Steve. If I were in their shoes, I would press further. I don't think this squeezed the lemon hard enough. I think we need to change the appropriation language altogether in the entire process to actually say, instead of saying shall spend, we need to go back to saying may spend. Actually put.
That'll work. Yeah, shall spend, may spend. Oh, yeah.
Thinking about this, if I'm the next U.S. president, I don't want my hands tied to be able to shut down government agencies that should not exist. So, though I give Kevin McCarthy credit,
shut down government agencies that should not exist. Yeah, I agree with that. But they were hired. There's going to be a lot of angry people, mind you. Government is. I get the gist of what he's saying, but I don't think that's the way to reduce. I don't think that's the way to reduce the debt, Vivek. What about the fucking military spending? $750 billion a year? Every year, $750 billion for more bombs and planes. That's just the amount that we know. What about all the bailouts? The banks still getting money, bailouts, there's a lot of fat on the bone, but it's not necessarily government employees.
I personally would be on the side of saying we need to go further if we actually want to rectify the ship.
But if you can't, I mean, look, there'll be a couple of days, I think, for them to negotiate in Congress. The possibility of a small amount of amendments. But as it stands, sounds like you'd be a no on this.
I would be if I were in their shoes. And I think that's a position that's different than most Republicans. I believe it is going to pass. But, Steve, I think we got to think on the time scale.
I believe it's going to pass. Of course it's going to pass. It's a fucking, if you were a betting man, if they were taking bets right now in fucking, Las Vegas or in Atlantic City, and the bet was, will the debt ceiling talks end by the end of the week? It's a fucking 100% chance. Maybe not by the end of the week, but will the debt ceiling increase? Will government vote to increase the debt ceiling? 100%. Is it going to pass? Of course it's going to pass. What's the alternative? Not pay as a way to solve the problem? Not pay federal employees who are hired to do a job and probably already worked a couple of weeks and are looking for a paycheck? You can't not pay them. Can you make their jobs disappear over time? Yeah, but you can't not pay them. That's not the way to do it.
Scales of history, not on the time scales of quarterly earnings reports or two-year election cycles. So that's where I'd be, as I'd push for far more dramatic spending cuts and cuts to the administrative state. That's where the cancer begins.
Well,
Whoa. Wow. Whoa. Let's watch more. House Rules Committee narrowly advanced bill to raise debt ceiling despite GOP opposition. I want to know more about the GOP opposition. What are they opposing?
This bill is the culmination of bipartisan negotiations between President Biden and Speaker McCarthy to responsibly raise the debt ceiling while enacting significant spending cuts and reform. For months, despite repeated requests from Speaker McCarthy, President Biden and congressional Democrats refused to negotiate with House Republicans, insisting on nothing less than a clean debt limit hike.
Why is the sick person behind the Republican politician wearing a mask? Why is she? Are you sick? Why are you wearing a mask? What are you hiding on your face? Why are you masked in the chambers of Congress? We want to see your face. We want to know who you are, motherfucker. Why are you wearing a mask? Are you afraid of germs? Oh, wait a second. You're wearing the mask because you want to protect others. Right? I think I said it on the show the other day. It caught me off guard. Somebody said that to me. They were wearing a mask. I'm sorry, I digress. They were wearing a mask, or they stopped wearing a mask and told me that. I said, well, that's good. I'm glad you stopped wearing a mask. And he said, well, that mask is to protect you. Right? So the point is, in this sick person's head right here, they're not just sick in the body, but they're sick in the head. They believe that the mask, I'm wearing this mask for you. How dare you? I don't know if that's what's in her mind, but it certainly wasn't the jack-off that told me he was wearing the mask for me. How is you wearing a mask protecting me? Unless you sneeze in my face, but I'm not going to let you do that. You're not protecting me. You're making yourself sicker and more fucking immunologically compromised by doing that to yourself, by cutting off your air supply to the world, to nature. But why? But why? Why are you wearing a mask behind the Republican? What was he saying? Something about debt ceiling. Oh, yeah.
But while the president dithered, House Republicans acted. Last month, we passed the Limit, Save, Grow Act, a bill that responsibly coupled the lift in the debt ceiling with needed fiscal reforms.
It's all business as usual, folks. It's business as usual in Washington. I know people got very excited about the firebrand Republicans and the firebrand Democrats that could come in and change everything. Remember who's running the fucking show. The corporations run D.C. It's powerful. It's money. It's money. People come in with a lot of ambition, and then some, and poor. They come into Congress poor, with a lot of ambition, and then somebody hands them $1 million and they shut the fuck up. It's like what Mike Tyson said. Mike Tyson said, everybody's a tough guy in a ring, right? Everybody's a tough guy until they get punched in the face. It's the opposite, right? So in Congress, I can't listen to this guy. It's too boring. Tom Cole, fucking say something interesting.
Indeed, we're the only ones in Washington who acted to address this looming problem. No House Democrat voted for this bill, and unsurprisingly, the Senate has yet to vote on any bill to lift the debt ceiling. But despite the long delays caused by President Biden and Senate Democrats, we finally reached an agreement. Today's bill is a product of compromise and reflects the realities of a divided government. We shouldn't allow that to overshadow what this bill accomplishes. As I've often said, in a true negotiation, you always get less than you want and give up more than you'd like. But with the passage of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, we'll responsibly lift the debt ceiling and avoid a default that would devastate the American economy.
Avoid a default and devastate the American economy. Would it devastate the American economy? Of course it would, because it would be unprecedented. America never defaults on its debt. If you think the markets are going to tank because of something else, that is the number one fucking thing that would tank the bond markets, the treasury markets, the stock markets, all the real estate markets. Everything would tank if the United States became a debtor, right? Which they're not right now.
And we will.
Well, they are a debtor, but they pay the little amounts that they need to keep the debt going. And as I said earlier, I don't think much of the debt is real. I think it's just printed currency. It's printed, money. It's numbers. It's not even like they need to hand over money or raise the money through bond negotiation, or raise, we're doing treasuries now and we're going to give 7% and everybody flocks to get the 7%. Countries flock to the United States to buy the treasuries. They're not even doing that anymore. There's nothing under it anymore.
Will achieve real reductions in spending while doing so. Indeed, this is the most consequential spending reduction bill in more than a decade.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You're lying. So the House Rules Committee narrowly advanced a bipartisan bill They're all the same. They're bipartisan bill Tuesday to raise the federal debt ceiling to $31.4 trillion despite Republican opposition. What fucking Republican opposition? The GOP-controlled committee voted 7-6 to move the 99-page piece of legislation to the House floor. So the GOP-controlled committee advanced the bill. All right? There you go. But I thought the Republicans are pushing back on raising the debt ceiling. No, they're not. You see what happens when push comes to shove? They play the monkey. I don't know. It's worse. It's not as bad as we once thought it was. What else are we going to do? That's what they do. I don't know. It's debt ceiling and there's more debt. What are we going to do? And they roll over for a belly rub. So GOP-controlled committee, 7-6, voted to move it along. Chip Roy and Ralph Norman, a couple of Republican senators, voted with Democrats on the panel against the measure, which would roughly add $4 trillion to the national debt. $4 trillion. That's a lot of fucking money. That's a lot of zeros. $4 trillion debt. Wow. So Thomas Massie, a member of the hardline conservative House Freedom Caucus, the Freedom Caucus voted in support of sending the bill to the House floor with 6 other Republicans. So there you go. There's your Freedom Caucus. The Freedom Caucus is voting to send the bill down to the Senate, the House, for some signatures, and then to Biden, which he'll rubber stamp anything that he sends them. The bill, what is it? What's in the bill? I don't know, Joe. I don't know what it is. It raises the debt, fucking $4 trillion. It's like, yeah, but is it going to make us look good? How is it going to play out? Are people following it? Are people paying attention that they're gonna that the United States is printing money that they don't have to the tune of $4 more trillion? Joe, what are you talking about? Only we know about that. The people don't know about that. Don't mention it. Something like that, right? Can you imagine the talks these guys have? Joe, you're fucking 82, man. Don't do it. Just sign the piece of paper, Joe. McCarthy was forced to appoint Massie. So these guys are jacking around. Ralph Norman. I don't even know who these people are. This is in this cracker.
Voting for this rule.
A key Republican hardliner on the powerful House Rules Committee said on Tuesday that he would support sending the bipartisan debt ceiling deal to the floor for a vote, a critical first step in advancing Speaker Kevin McCarthy's agreement with President Joe Biden and avoiding a catastrophic default.
So it looks like the House, I don't know the order of things, but I do know the order of things. I don't know when the debt when it's actually solved. But it goes to House first, and then the Senate signs off on it, and then Biden will, if House and Senate send Biden a bill, Biden's going to sign it. He's not going to not sign it. No way.
Here's Republican Representative Thomas Massie.
My interest in being on this committee was not to imprint my ideology. I think that is an inappropriate use of the Rules Committee. What do the 13 of us owe the rest of Congress? We owe them an honest shake and a playing field that doesn't change.
The Rules Committee, which decides...
He said nothing. He said nothing. Thanks, Reuters, for reporting on nothing.
What legislation gets a vote on the House floor faced a direct challenge from the other 2 of 3 hardline Republicans, who McCarthy added to the panel as a condition of winning his speakership.
Not one Republican should vote for this deal.
Ahead of the meeting, far-right members Chip Roy and Ralph Norman said they planned to vote against the deal if it wasn't changed to their liking, and played down the threat of default.
Doesn't matter. You're already outnumbered. It's gonna pass.
By Janet Yellen's The Sky's Falling. She's moved the X date 3 times. June 1st, now it's June 5th, and I hear it's June 8th. What gives? Tax revenues are going to be coming in. We're not going to default. We're going to cheat. They're going to say this. Let's call their bluff on it. The best deal is no deal.
At the White House, Biden's budget chief, Shalonda Young, said there was no indication.
So he's claiming that the tax money is rolling in. That's bullshit right there. That's bullshit. Corporations don't pay their fair share of taxes. Amazon should, if the corporations pay their fair share, that's a great way to reduce the debt, by the way, if you really want to do that. But because of the balance of things right now, you'll have rampant inflation. You think inflation is bad now? If you start taxing the corporations, they just put it off on the people and the prices go skyrocketing up. You got to make that illegal, right? You got to you got to create laws that corporations can't, skate around the tax burden. And also, it's the very nature of the debt. Right? Do we need all of these government employees? Do we need all these bombs and planes and weapons and billions of dollars to Ukraine and Israel and fucking whoever else wants the money? No, and no.
Indication the so-called X date for when the government would run out of funds to pay all its bills would get pushed back from June 5th.
She knows more than I do then, because I don't have that indication.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has said the government would default if Congress did not increase the nation's $31.4 trillion debt ceiling by June 5th.
June 5.
McCarthy and Biden have predicted they will get enough votes to pass the bill into law before that date. If the House passes it, the bill would then proceed to the Democratic-controlled Senate, where a vote could possibly stretch into the weekend if lawmakers in that chamber try to slow its passage.
So according to Reuters, they say by the end of the weekend, they'll have this ironed out. U.S. debt ceiling, Republican hard right vows to sink deal hours before vote is expected. You guys ain't sinking shit. This is all a show. It looks like the majority of the Republicans rolled over. These are important discussions because people are interested and they see this debt ceiling as a big deal. Like a lot of things in America. What do we believe in? Do we believe in unlimited debt? What else do the Republicans, run on? This is not a social issue. This is a deeply financial issue. What else we got? Now playing. Each party gave up the game.
Mornings can be hard. 3 little words.
You gotta watch a video. You gotta watch a commercial. All right, so that's all I got to say about that. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Fuck you. And the markets are open. Ding, ding, 9:49 New York time. We're open. Holy shit. All right, NASDAQ came back hard. Look at that. It was down as much as 80 in the open. It looks like we're going higher. Dow Jones down 204, but the NASDAQ just popped. You see that pop off the bottom? So it's holding. There's a leveling off of the NASDAQ right now. Only down a mere 5. Looks like it's going to go down. Looks like it's going to go green in the next few seconds. And as I said, Dow down 201. There it goes. NASDAQ just clicked green. In watching it, NASDAQ is green, clean and green. So that dip this morning, if you viewed it that way, might have been a buy opportunity. Big board. Apple up another $1.25 is a share. Amazon up 11 cents. Google down a mix, 21 cents, 8 cents. Meta, formerly Facebook, down up 5. Microsoft up another $4 a share. Rivian down 15 cents right now, or 1%, to $14.73. Now, again, I want to talk about Rivian for one more second. It got some bad news a little while ago about some kind of, it was the repairs on a Rivian truck were showing extraordinarily high rates of repair expense. It was like $20,000 or $30,000 to fix your truck for a fender bender. So they got some bad press. I don't know what that's all about, but I got to tell you, man. If you look at the max chart on Rivian, now this is an electric car company. They make electric cars. I know. They suck. They're nobody, but they have a very strong friend. And that friend is Jeff Bezos. Right? So here's the maximum. Here's the maximum chart. Remember when it IPO'd in 2021? It IPO'd at about $90 and it went all the way up to $178 within a week. And then it came crashing down hard all the way to $12 a share. That was the very low. The lowest was about 12. And right now we're at 14, as I said, 1476. Is Rivian... Now think about the price, right? Rivian is a very large electric vehicle maker. Are they going to perfect their game over time? Remember, Amazon holds 20% of the float, and that's significant. That could buy big media news. You see how news is rocking and rolling it. So the guess, my thought. Again, you could buy Ford, you could buy Chevy. Chevrolet, you could buy those stocks as well. However, it does seem that this would be a big fucking run if it comes back, right? At $14.70 a share, if you took 1,000 of these, right? Now, this is hypothetical philosophical. This is not, I'm not an investment guy telling you what to do. I'm also not a doctor, my disclaimer. But if you were to take 1,000 at 1467, right? And that shit goes up to $100 a share. You're loaded, right? You've just made 85 grand, right? How else are you going to make 85 grand in the market? Or if it really becomes a player and does what, does like the Tesla thing, all the way up to 600 or 800, right? It could do that too, then you're essentially, you've accrued wealth, right, on the back of something that, never in your lifetime could have really, you couldn't have earned that kind of money. 1,000 shares of Rivian at $14.50. If it goes to 200 or 300, you're basically, unless you have a very, very, expensive lifestyle, you're pretty much done. You're pretty much good in 10 years. You fucking got so much money, you don't know what to do with it. And what did you do? You threw $5,000, this, a gamble at Rivian at $14 a share, and it went to 300. Right? Those are kind of opportunities you always, Now, is that a fact? Is that going to happen? I would say, yeah. I would say, hello, future. Today is May 31 in the year 2023. Thank you for watching. And yes, I'm recommending Rivian right here at $14.60 a share. All right, $14.60 a share back here in the past. All right, and now you're looking at it and it's 200. Could you imagine if more people would have listened to this reporter? Holy shit. Holy shit. So thank you all for joining me. My name is Marcus Conti. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, man. Have a good day. It's beautiful weather. Beautiful. I mean, unprecedented, cool 55 in the morning. And then it goes up to like 75, 80 in the sun. Ah, so beautiful. So beautiful. No clouds right now. The clouds are going to come. I'm not an anti-rain, anti-cloud guy, but right now we enjoy the sun. And when the clouds come and they bring the rain and they fertilize and fortify all the crop, we'll be grateful. We'll enjoy the sun as well, and we'll yearn for the time when the sun comes back. But right now the sun is out, and you need to expose yourself to it. Go out, try it. Pick the hottest part of the day. I know people run away from the hot part of the day, but go out when it's hot, like 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and find the hottest. I find sand. I have a sand spot, and stay there for like 20 minutes to an hour. Drink a lot of water, because you'll shrivel like a prune. Drink a gallon of water and sit in the hot sun and relax. Take your shit off. Take off your layers. You got to take your layers off. Get down to your speedo and let the sun work its magic. Let the sun work its magic on you. Right? And you'll feel better about yourself. He will. Mark Sconti reporting.